AI pronouns, iHeart doesn't AI, and AI never sleeps, revisited. Welcome to the Unlimited Supply Podcast, your daily music business TLDR in your ear, powered by humans living in fragile equilibrium with AI, and it's never been more true, and brought to you by No Disc, helping music, technology, and finance companies navigate the music industry, and partnered with Digital Music News. I'm Lars Murray. It's November 25th, 2025. It's Tech Tuesday, but before we geek out on the AI, the end of the calendar year is coming up fast, and if you're like me, it's a time when you take a look at what you've subscribed to and how much you're paying and what you should keep and what you should get rid of. Now, there's a new wrinkle in that decision for 2026. Here comes this Spotify price increase we've all been expecting. If you've been following along, Spotify stock has taken a bit of a tumble over the past week or so. As of this morning, it has rebounded slightly, but it's still below $600, as we've mentioned so many times before, with the service having hit a bit of a ceiling in the US, Europe, and Japan. Its best hope to grow into its stock price targets is price increases. So brace yourself, here it comes in January. Multiple outlets are on top of this, but Paul Resnikoff over at Digital Music News has a good rundown and a few reasons why this might not be such a great idea for Spotify. Spotify raising its prices should be good news for the major record labels. After all, a big chunk of that increased revenue goes straight into their pockets, and how they divide the spoils is, shall we say, pretty key to their operations, which is one of the main reasons UMG wants to acquire Downtown Music, and also why the EU, egged on by indie labels, is looking very hard at that acquisition. Well, yesterday the EU affirmed that the deal does indeed raise significant concerns, especially when it comes to competition. In a market share world, the biggest whale wields outsized influence, and once again, it's down to the EU to provide the competitive oversight that the US will not. This is just a step in the process. The EU will not rule on the merger until January, but for now, this finding is good news for the indies and for UMG's primary competitors, Warner and Sony, who've been pretty quiet about all of this, presumably because they'd be doing the same thing if they could. Marc Schneider has it covered over at Billboard. I'll accept that last part. Okay, let's geek out. It may be a slow week for humans, but AI doesn't take vacation, doesn't eat stuffing and turkey, and AI doesn't, at least directly, argue about politics at the Thanksgiving table. But needless to say, there's a lot going on this week in the world of AI. The continuing saga of the viral hit IRun, which we've talked about on Viral Wednesdays, continues. As our viral correspondent Lydia Valentino reported last week, IRun, which wrote an uncanny AI-generated Jorja Smith vocal sound-alike to virality, was taken down by the DSPs and then reworked and uploaded by TikTok singer Kaitlyn Aragon, or by its original producers. I'm not quite sure. Little help here, Lydia? Anyway, it's reappeared and it's causing all kinds of consternation and controversy around a bunch of questions. Was it trained on Jorja Smith, and if so, on purpose or otherwise? And does she deserve to get paid, and how much, and by whom? If the vocal was generated on Suno, but not the rest of the song, is Suno responsible? And if so, who gets paid and how much? It's all playing out in real time. As of now, the Kaitlyn Aragon version is up and running on the DSPs. Will Kaitlyn Aragon reap any lasting career impact? Stay tuned. You can get up to speed with Ashley King's coverage at Digital Music News. One place IRun is presumably not running is on iHeart Radio. How do we know this? Well, because last week iHeart honcho Tom Poleman circulated an internal memo declaring that iHeart would neither play songs with AI-generated vocals, nor would they feature AI-generated personalities, DJs, and podcasts on their stations. It's a bold and even perhaps uncharacteristically humanistic move by iHeart. There is a considerable risk in Poleman stating that you will not play one of the most viral tracks in the universe right now. That would be IRun. And only time will tell whether this move helps strangle AI-generated hits in the crib, or whether iHeart is raging futilely against an unstoppable tide. Will the major labels make a similar pronouncement to iHeart? Your move, Lucian. Kristin Robinson has the coverage over at Billboard. Presumably then, iHeart will also not be playing any music from the AI-generated artist Xania Monet, which we are very mindful of pronouns here at Unlimited Supply, and we are very intentionally assigning object pronouns to AI artists. Anyway, Xania Monet, has ascended the Billboard charts based on streaming activity over the past few weeks. Over at Music Business Worldwide, Daniel Tencer is reporting that the actual who's behind that witch, the Hallwood Entertainment Group, has formed a venture arm and has just put some of that venture lucre into Suno, presumably to help fund Suno's legal warfare with rights holders, which Suno is pursuing, as founding CEO Mikey Shulman put it so eloquently, not in a fuck the police kind of way, unquote. History has proven that I am no genius or tech prognosticator. Goodness knows I'd be on an island somewhere sipping freshly squeezed tropical fruit juice right now if I were, but when an AI creation platform joins forces with an entirely synthetic artist, and the combined entity is engaging in pitched legal battles to invoke fair use to justify scraping the hard work of human musicians to bolster their profit-making enterprise, it's a little hard to separate their actions from fuck the police. Just saying. Presumably, this will all end in licenses for Suno, and the Xania Monets of the world will exist, alongside human artists, duking it out for a slice of the pie 24/7 without sleeping. And what do the artists think of all this? Well, some are panicking, some are ignoring it, and Imogen Heap is diving right in as a user of AI tools and as an advocate and even founder pushing ethical AI practices. And she's been using AI in her own art. She sat down with Kristin Robinson over at Billboard for a podcast interview that covered this ground, and while the headline is that artists have lost control of their own voices, Imogen is not dooming. She's going right at it and advocating for digital ID for artists, and she's probably right when she says that a musician with 10,000 hours in is going to be better at music with or without AI tools than your basic teenage punter. And that's another Tech Tuesday. Support for Unlimited Supply is provided by RoyFi. If you need an advance to take your career to the next level, RoyFi has the best rates in the industry, the fairest terms, and no hidden agendas. RoyFi is mission-driven to give artists and labels and publishers the independence they need. See if you're eligible for an advance at RoyFi. That's RoyFi.com. If you like what you hear, please hit that follow button wherever you get your pods. I live for your praise and encouragement in person, but it helps a lot more if you drop us a rating and or a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify, and tell a friend or three. Links are in the show notes, but you can also visit unlimitedsupplypod.com to sign up for our newsletter, to tell us what you think about the show, to suggest feature ideas, to feed us info, to feed us lunch, to call us out on our dubious assertions, and to tell us what we're missing out on. I'm Lars Murray, and remember, in this business, no conflict means no interest.